We've got to clean the rest of the parts of the back wheel and then put it all back together. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. We'll start by cleaning up this spoke guard. Spray a little of the Fast 505 on there. Just hit it up with some steel wool. Freewheel, there's a special tool that Park Tool makes. It's looks like GSC-1 gear clean. It's got these teeth around here in an arc for you to get in between the gears, and then a nice thin brush. So again, I don't take this whole thing apart because they're difficult to get apart, and there is about 1 million tiny ball bearings in there. So it's just more worry than it's worth. And it'll clean up really nicely. ahead and finish this up on the wire wheel just to get the final bit of old grease and dirt off and whatnot, and threw a little grease with my small pick in that outer ring. The last thing we have to do as far as cleaning is the tedious task, which I won't film all of it, we're going to take each spoke, we're going to rub steel wool on it a little bit, and then we take it to the wire wheel and we clean each one of them. I do the steel wool first just because there's a lot of loose dirt and grime and whatnot, and on the wire wheel it'll make a mess. So I get a lot of it off, or at least the loose stuff off, with the steel wool. Try not to get it caught on the spoke there. You start with the valve stem hole at the bottom. This is the way I do it anyway. So I've got my valve stem hole right here, and then I've got my hub here, and I align a hole on the hub up with that. Then I count 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, comes in from the top, goes to the second hole in the rim to the right of the valve stem hole, put a nipple on that, and then the next one is, this is my lined up hole here, the next one is 3 to the left, 1, 2, 3, and that's an over. So it comes in from underneath, goes over, and it lines up just one hole to the left of the valve stem hole. Now comes the tricky bit. The tricky bit is that you have to do 2 more spokes on the other side. And the deal is that the holes on this side of the hub do not line up. If you've got this squared up, do not line up with the holes on the other side. They're actually right in between. So the hole in between on the other side of the hub between these 2 holes is right here. So you eyeball that and you find that hole, and the one that is down from this one on the right, which would be this hole right here, I'm going to put my finger on it so I remember it. Consulting my drawing is an over. So that is going to come in from underneath. And it goes to the first hole to the right of the valve stem hole. Get a nipple on there. And then you go up, line this up again, and it's this hole right here. So you go down on this side, you go up on that side, and that is an under. So it comes in from the top. And it goes to the left of the one you just put in. Or it goes to the left, well, the second hole to the left of the valve stem hole. It's the best way to say it. You will know fairly quickly if you have not gotten this right, because things will not be lining up, and then you'll have to go from there. You have to redo it, basically. So then the only other thing to know is that they alternate. So this is an over, this will be an under on this side. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And that when you put the next one in, it's going to go 4 holes over from the previous one, of course, not counting the valve stem hole. So this one will be an over, and it will go 1, 2, 3. It'll go in this hole here. So I like to do the unders first because, I don't know, I think that's easier, because then the overs are, it's easier to do the unders when when all the overs are not in there, I guess is the best way to explain it. Grease and put the ball bearings in before I put the freewheel on. So I'm greasing this now. I finally got the axle on the right way, got it tightened down, And now I have it in the truing stand. And I wanted to show, because in the past when I've done this, I've had the spokes more or less tightened, and I've shown how the dishing works on a rear wheel where you have a freewheel on one side. So the dishing again is the fact that all the spokes come more or less to a center line in the rim, but then they splay out to the outer side of the hub. And obviously the hub is much wider than the rim. So the dishing is the angle at which the spokes travel outwards. On a wheel, like a front wheel, that is symmetrical on both sides, the dishing needs to be symmetrical. So the dishing should be the same on the right as it is on the left. But because on a rear wheel with a free wheel, you have a lot more space over here on the right, the drive side, than you do on the left, the non-drive side. The dishing has to be biased to the left to make up for this gap. And you'll see that when we get down to the truing part of the business here, that's why this is. Because the left feeler gauge is already almost up against the rim, and there's quite a bit of space on the right. So if I do this right, you'll see that we need to get the dishing. It's going to be tricky with one hand, but we need to get the wheel, you know, more in the center like that, which you can see the spokes are all going to be biased to the left and hardly at all on the right. Anyway, this will become clearer later. All right, the truing is done, and hopefully you can see there that I think I've got this level that the spokes are biased to the left to make up for the fact that we have too much room on the right. If you don't do this, otherwise the wheel won't sit straight in the frame. So now we can finish putting the wheel together, which would be the chain spoke guard. And then we're going to screw on with the chain whip. There we go. And we've put our skewer back on. And we put a little bit of air in the inner tube, just to make sure we don't have any kinks when we fully inflate it. Get this in the valve stem hole. So that's it. Our rear wheel is all done. Just have to put air in it, which we'll wait for the final episode to do that. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks again for sticking with me. And don't forget, you yourself can make a difference. So check out the link for an Army of Normal Folks podcast in the description. And I hope to see you next time on Featherstone Bicycles.